Good morning. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jonathan Schindel. I'm the co-president of the Armory. I see a lot of very familiar faces here, and we're very excited to have you coming back to the Armory, some of you tomorrow, and all of you on Saturday. First, I want to thank Morgan Stanley, who has been terrifically gracious in letting us use this beautiful conference center. So thank you to everybody at Morgan Stanley. At this point, I know you don't want to hear from me, so I'm going to introduce the voice of the Armory, Ian Brooks.
Thank you, Jonathan. Indeed, it is a pleasure to be here. This is the Morgan Stanley Wealth Management Office, and today we have a wealth of running talent here as well. Make some noise for all these tremendous athletes. I'll have more to say in just a few minutes, but first, we open the show with a bang by introducing Rita Finkel, the co-president of the Armory Foundation, together with...
Thank you, Ian. Good morning, everyone. Every year, one of the highlights for me of the Millrose Games is the fastest kids in the world races. And we have the deepest pleasure to welcome two athletes from Ireland. We have Hannah, and Hannah, why don't you tell everybody where you're from?
I'm from Tarmanbarry.
Thank you. And Charlie's here as well. Where are you from, Charlie?
I'm from Sligo.
Well, we hope that you all give a New York welcome to these young runners and their families, and have a great Millrose Games. We're delighted that everybody is here. Thank you. Thank you, Ian.
I wonder which one will be the fastest kid in the world on Saturday. I can't wait to announce that race. I'd also like to, as Jonathan's thanked Morgan Stanley, I'd like to thank the New York Roadrunners. They are the sponsors of the Wanamaker Miles and have been for, I think it's their third year in a row, having been a title sponsor for a number of years as well. For those of you new to New York, the New York Roadrunners has had a tremendous impact on running. If you go into Central Park on any given day, you can run a 4-mile loop, a 5-mile loop, a 6-mile loop. You can run the reservoir, which is about 1.6 miles, and you will see every day, every hour, thousands upon thousands of runners, jolly joggers, you name it, they're out there. And when I look back, and I used to work for the president of the New York Roadrunners, Alan Steinfeld, I look back at those days and I think Fred LeBeau and Alan Steinfeld at the New York Roadrunners have had such an impact on the running community. And of course, they also have the marathon, which has over 55,000 people. How many of you run the marathon here? Anybody here? David Monty has. You have? You have? It's quite an experience, isn't it just? And then, of course, the Fifth Avenue Mile. Where's Mr. Kurd? Well, he won it just the other day. Seems like yesterday, didn't it? But those are truly New York experiences, and there are so many more. So special thanks to the New York Roadrunners. They have programs in all the boroughs for all ages, from 5 to 95. It's totally incredible. So thanks to the New York Roadrunners, and without further ado, I'm going to bring up our first two athletes, who will be Georgia and Jessica. You're going to come this side. All the athletes you're going to see today come in with an illustrious history. So when I took a look at the list of athletes coming, and I saw these two young ladies, I thought, my goodness me, from Paris. So Georgia Bell from Clapham in London. So I should use my London accent now maybe for a bit. So bronze medalist in the 1500 meters in Paris. Tremendous achievement. Jessica, some are starting to call her Jess, but she prefers Jessica, which I understand. Jessica was the silver medalist in Paris at 1500 meters. So what more could you ask for to open the show? Don't answer that. Let's start with Georgia. Georgia. I listened to some music this morning. The first track I heard was Georgia on My Mind. Can you believe this?
Yeah, great song, Ray Charles.
Yes. This was the Willie Nelson version, but there you go. That's another story. So you've come back from South Africa, I understand, after a tremendous year last year. What a whirlwind year it was, breaking all sorts of barriers, and you were working for a living, getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning to run. Now you don't. You get up at 11 or something, I'm sure. Yeah. Tell me about how life has changed since your bronze medal performance.
Well, I've been able to quit my job, which was nice, my corporate job, which I've been doing for the last 7 years.
Careful what you say about corporate jobs.
Which was a great job, but it definitely was hard trying to train and work full time. And so it has literally changed my life. I'm able to be a full-time athlete, go on these training camps, go do all the things that athletes need to do, which before I wasn't, like physio and recovery and everything you need to do to be the top of the world. So yeah, I'm just loving it. I feel like I'm on holiday every day.
And you're no stranger to New York. You've got a sister that lives here, right?
Yeah, sister in the city.
So you're an honorary New Yorker.
I wouldn't go that far, but I do love this place.
Okay. How has your training changed now since this change?
It hasn't actually changed too much because obviously last year worked, so we want to keep things consistent. My mileage has probably had a slight increase, but only about 5 miles per week.
To what?
About 35 miles a week, still pretty low. But the main thing has been going to the gym, so adding in strength and conditioning, which I just wasn't doing all of last year, because I actually have the time to do that now. So yeah, hopefully we'll see some of the results of that soon when I race.
So in preparing for this race, key workouts that will tell you where you're at, because you've been in South Africa with Keely, right?
Yeah, I mean...
Come on, I won't tell a soul. Nobody will know.
Key workouts.
Yes.
I
Come
mean, practicing for, what pace we're hoping is going to be this weekend at altitude. So I think it's 64s for 400 is going to be kind of British record pace. Don't know if that's going to be possible, but we hear it's a pretty fast track and it's just been newly laid.
Who's told you that?
Yeah, rumour has it. So yeah, there's really good people in the race, and with a fast track and a good crowd, hopefully we can run super fast.
And sitting alongside you, you thought you were going to be competing against Jessica, but now she's switched to the 3000, so now you can chat freely.
Yeah, now we're friends for today.
How does training in South Africa compare, and when did you come back from the altitude there?
Came back on the 25th of January to London for a few days, and then flew out to Boston. It's not too high, the altitude there. It's about 1,500 feet or meters, one or the other. So it means that the intensity is still really high, whereas in other locations that are higher, you might adjust the intensity. So Jen and Trev don't really give us a break out there. It's tough, but it's good training.
Trevor and Jenny are here, I imagine.
Jenny is here.
Jenny's here, okay.
Trevor's on dad duty back home with Arabella.
And I also believe, when I look at your hand, you celebrated your win in Paris with getting married, perhaps?
Yeah, I got married in October, so it was a crazy year for me.
Is he here?
He is not here, no.
Oh, he's left home holding the dot.
Yeah, he's holding the fort at home. Actually, no, he's actually skiing at the moment, so he preferred that to come out to watch the race, I guess. But no, we had a great year last year, and it was just the perfect way to end the summer.
Welcome to New York, Georgia.
Thank you very much.
Jessica, you were due to race 3 kilometers last week in Boston. I gather you had a cold.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling a lot better. It's just bad timing coming from Australia, coming from the summer into winter.
And the reason you're switching is so that you can qualify for the World Indoor Championships?
Yeah. I want to run the 3000 in
It
China.
wasn't avoiding Georgia.
No, I was super excited for this Millrose field. It is stacked in the Wanamaker Mile, and after running here last year against Ellie, I was really keen to come back. But I want to prioritize the 3000 for World Indoors, and I need to get that standard. So I'm going to try and do that on Saturday.
Key workout that you can tell us that tells you where you're at?
It's probably different than this time last year. I think for me, I'm pretty confident in my endurance right now, and just sort of having seen some inroads there, I sort of tried to do, in a way it's kind of dangerous because you do have a blueprint from last year, and comparing direct sessions is like a dangerous thing. But I did have a note that I had tried to do 6 by 1,000 at 70s exactly a year ago and couldn't do it. And I was able to do it in training before I came over about 3 weeks ago. So it's not super specific, but it's just something that like showed some growth in my aerobic capacity and hopefully suggests that I'm even more ready for a 3K than I was last year when I came over.
Well, it sounds exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looking ahead and bearing in mind your Olympic medal in Australia, Olympic medals are a big deal in Australia.
Yes.
Has it changed your lifestyle?
It hasn't changed my lifestyle. Like, I think as an endurance athlete, in any sport, I assume, like, but definitely as a distance runner, like, you got to put in the work at training. Like, the training can't get done just because you have a medal. So I think it hasn't changed my day to day in terms of like how hard we work. It meant my fall was a lot busier. Like October, November was pretty busy when I first went back to Australia, which was pretty special because so many people wanted to celebrate it with me and hear about my experiences and things. But kind of come December when the mileage went up, I had to be like, nah, I got to be an athlete again and just get the work in.
So I was thinking maybe you'd be the first Australian to ever win a Millrose Games title. And I asked Walt Murphy, the historian, and Judy Amore in 1964 was an Olympic bronze medalist, and then she won the Millrose 440 yards, 1965. Isn't that amazing? Goodness.
That was a good
So I'm sorry, you won't be the first Australian if you win the 3,000.
No, that was a good generation. That was kind of when our last Olympic medal in distance had been as well on the men's side. So yeah, they were strong back then in the 60s.
So there we are, Georgia Bell, Jessica Hull. Have we learnt something there? I hope we all have. Thank you. Now I'd like to bring up my colleague, Olu, from the Armory Foundation. Olu, and you have some guests with you.
Okay. Testing. Thing on. Hey, how's everybody doing this morning? You can hear me just fine? All right, good. So I have the pleasure of speaking with some people who drop down the distance, who actually tear up the track in a different type of way. Most of their races are going to last all of maximum 7-something seconds this weekend. So I would like to welcome Trayvon, Masai, and Devin up to these 3 chairs over here for me. So kind of how we did with Georgia and Jessica, I'm going to have you guys pass off the mic. So if one of you guys wants to hold it, that's fine, and we'll pass off. I just have a few questions for each of you. And actually, since Trayvon, you're right here next to me, we're going to start with you, man. So how'd you make it up to New York? How's your travel? Let's get this thing turned on for you. There we go.
All right, no, everything was smooth. Left from Boston, came on up here, and it was smooth sailing. Nice little couple hours, and we made it in with, no time to waste.
That's good. That's good. Well, I've been paying attention to the social media side of things, so I have a couple questions that, based on what I saw on your Instagram. You mentioned that you haven't taken indoor track seriously since 2016, and that's of course the year that you won the indoor 60-meter title. Now, you also mentioned that you have some pretty big goals coming for 2025 season. So, could you let us all know what those goals might be and what a successful 2025 season would look like for you?
Well, of course, for the job, winning is part of it, right? So we all want to win a gold medal. For me, I've been in this game for a minute now, and it's cool to get the bronze, but that's not what I train for. So, now that I'm older and I'm seeing things a lot differently, a lot of changes in my life, I'm like, shoot, now it's all or nothing, right? So I'm attacking training differently, even coming off of the year that I had previous with the injury. I'm like, okay, how can I put myself back in position? I know I'm a fighter. I know perseverance is part of who I am. So we're training a lot different. I'm back with my old coach in college, so he knows what I need to have to be able to succeed. So we're trying a lot of new things, and it's looking good in practice. So we're just trying to get back in the swing of things, trying to find our race feet again.
Well, I mean, as I said, the training we're seeing on Instagram is looking great. I know that's all a lot of us get to see. We don't really get to see behind the closed curtains as much. So first of all, we appreciate you being so transparent with that process. I know the injury recovery process is really trying. And along those lines, I don't think if everybody in here knows, but you're also a really talented photographer. So how has having photography as a creative outlet been able to help you through those really tough times through the injuries, and where can people see your work?
Well, you can see my work at Shots by TB on Instagram. Photography has taught me how to have patience, and I don't think people really understand, especially when it comes to nature and landscape photography. You have to have patience to find the right shot. Even in the details of doing post-edit work, using Adobe, so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure anybody that's into content creating knows what I'm talking about. Like it's fine detail, it's fine tuning, just like track and field is. So just how intuitive and into my craft I am with biomechanics, how I run, my training, how my nutrition. It's the same way with photography. Like you have to find the right lighting, you have to understand what story you're trying to tell. And people who follow me on social media, they know I'm a storyteller. I let the world into my life. I never shy away from what I'm going through, and photography is that same outlet. So when I post my images, I hope that they see a story that's meaningful to them.
I've seen the story personally. I can attest to it personally. I think everybody should take a look at his Instagram page, Shots by TB. It's very impressive work. Great stuff, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Devin, on to you. So, Devin, last year, your mic is on, okay. Last year, you and I had a chance to catch up very briefly at the end of Millrose after you ran your first world record, and you're back at the Armory for the first time since running your first world record. Now, obviously, you went on later that season to set another world record at the Glasgow World Indoor Championships. But in a recent interview, you said that you felt like you left a few hundreds on the table in 2024. So could you let us know what you're working on in your race to get those hundreds back, and how much faster do you think you can run?
Yeah, so I think just based on where I was in training at the time, looking at how we were doing our race models and times I was hitting, I think, 7:59, like perfectly executed race, I think was definitely possible. And so this year is just about being more consistent and just hitting those things that I'm working on in practice, making sure that I'm bringing it to meet day, because sometimes things get lost in competition, when the pressure is on. And so I think just working through those things and making sure that I'm as effective as possible on meet day.
That's big. That's big. Consistency is such a major thing. I mean, the shorter the time that you're running in a race, the shorter the race is, the more important it is that you have to be consistent with every one of your technical components of the race. Now, that's also very inspiring that you've set a world record. We all know that. But another one of the really inspiring aspects of your story is that you actually recently founded the Devin Charlton Breaking Barriers Foundation. So could you let everybody know here what your mission is with your foundation and why you chose to start the foundation while you're still actively competing at the top of your game?
Yeah, so I realized that there was a need back home for, there were some athletes who had the talent but might have fallen off from the sport because they just didn't have the resources and the support system to continue on with it. And so I just saw a space that, someone to support them, it was needed. And so I figured if I could do that financially and kids in the country would be better off for it, it just seemed like a great thing to do for me. I just want people to have the experiences that I've had. Like, track has been such a big thing in my life, and I think the more people that get to experience that, the better.
That's a big blessing that you're providing for all these other athletes. So on behalf of them, I'd like to say thank you. So Masai, moving on to you. Now, everybody knows that past year that Masai has had. You've gone from first, you were just outside the medals at World Indoors last year, but 5 months later, you're standing on top of the Olympic champion, on top of the podium in Paris as the Olympic champion. And obviously, who can have a better rookie? How could you call it a better rookie season than that, right? But you've also started 2025 with another streak of wins that you're currently undefeated over the 60-meter hurdles. So my question to you is, how are you approaching races differently now that you're entering every race as the Olympic champion?
Honestly, the goal is still the same. It's just to get to the line first, and it's not any different than it was from the past years. That was the goal every time I stepped out on the track. But, now everyone does have a standard for me, and I understand that. But, I'm just doing it for myself, and I'm just doing it for where I'm at in training. I'm just doing it for, who I am, and I'm just a competitor. So it's nothing has changed, just the title in front of my name or behind it.
That's big. That's big. So would you say part of that, being that champion, part of that is keeping yourself grounded as well?
Yeah, I don't want to say, nothing has changed in my life since winning the Olympics. Like I said, it's just like a title, but who I am and how I approach the sport is still the same. So I think that's why I was able to get the Olympic title as a rookie, And I've had success in the past, just as, not as great, but almost as equal in my eyes because it was just great performances. So, I just take every race like it's my last, and I'm just a competitor, like I said.
That's been paying really well for you this year. So, okay, my final question for you, though. Next week, you are part of the NBA All-Star Celebrity Basketball Team. I don't think everybody ever really knew that. Now, you're one of two track athletes, two track and field medalists who are going to be playing, Shelby McEwen being the other one, the high jumper. So how are your skills on the court, and which one of you guys is going to have the most buckets?
Yeah, basketball and me have never gone together at all. Only thing I'm good at is probably track and jumping over hurdles and flipping a little bit. So for me, I wouldn't be surprised if Shelby gets a couple dunks, scores a couple points, maybe even win MVP. It's kind of hard to say. But yeah, don't look for me to do anything. I'm going to be out there looking cute, taking pictures like I always do, but don't look for nothing on the court. Hopefully I get a point. That's all I want to do.
All right, so we'll be looking out for you to get a point and for Shelby to put up some good dunks for us. Ladies and gentlemen, Trayvon, Devin, and Masai.
Let me have the four gentlemen then. So Grant and Cole over here, and Yared and Josh here, please. Well, it doesn't get any better than this, does it really? Four gentlemen, four Olympic medalists. Grant Fisher, 5,000 and 10,000 bronze medalist. Incredible performance. What a year. Cole Hocker stunned the world and Ingebrigtsen by winning the 1,500 meters in Paris. Gold medalist. Josh Kerr, silver medalist. Yared Nuguse, bronze medalist in the 1,500. In just an incredible year and incredible performances by these athletes. Somebody, unfortunately, has to win, and then somebody has to be second and third. But as I looked at that 1,500, I was thinking, goodness, that could have gone any which way in that last 30, 40 meters. One of four people could have won that. So that's why we love racing. But I'm going to start with you, Grant, if I may. You're no stranger to New York because you won the indoor high school mile just a few years ago. But since then, I looked at your closing speed in Paris, 54.7 in the 10,000 meters, 53.5. That's almost Cole Hocker pace at the finish. But you've obviously worked on that because to be a competitor in a major games, you have to have that closing speed. Would you agree? And elaborate?
Yeah, I agree 100%. In the distance races, in the 5K and 10K, I think gone are the days where someone breaks away early and it's just the class of the field. And it always comes down to a kick. It comes down to the last 400 meters. And in the past global championships, I'd been there with a lap to go, but I just didn't have that closing speed to really get on the podium and be competitive when I wanted to be. So that was something I really worked on last year, was my closing speed, and kicked my way onto the podium twice. So I'm really, really happy with how last year went. And going into this year, those are the same things that'll make me successful. So the fitness needs to be there so that I'm with the pack with a lap to go, and the kick needs to be there so that I end up at the front by the end.
Now, to do that, did you do specific drills or anything in particular to develop that speed? Because that's what Galen Rupp did towards the end of his career on the track.
Yeah, a combination of a lot of things. One, like I said, you need to be with the pack with a lap to go. But you can't have used all your energy to get to that point. So your overall fitness needs to be really strong. You need to be comfortable running, 64 second pace for the 10K and about 61, 62 second pace for the 5K. So that was the first step, get the fitness really high. And then the second step is just, working on that closing speed. And in this sport, the way to get better at something is just to do it a lot. So a lot more strides, a little more speed work, more intentional speed work. Doing a workout where I run 5K or 10K pace for a while and then work on, some faster 300s at the end. So I found it to be really effective, and I don't need to reinvent the wheel this year, do similar things, and hopefully finish a little higher on the podium this summer.
So looking back to last year, the 2 miles, you outkicked the gentleman sitting next to you, but fell behind that gentleman over there, Mr. Kerr, in the 2 miles. How do you approach this race?
I think outkicked is the wrong term, but yeah, no, for me, I'm a 5K, 10K guy dropping down, so I know what my strength is, and these guys know what my strength is as well.
They do?
I think so. If not, I'll let them know. It's running hard from the gun. Cole has incredible transitions into his top end speed. I wouldn't say that's my natural strength, so leaning into what my natural strength is running hard and making it hurt. So
you're going to make him hurt?
I hope I can. Yeah, so last year, it's kind of cool looking back now. That 2 mile race really kicked off an incredible year for all of us. We all ended up on the podium in our respective events. So it's a cool place to start at Millrose Games, and I think this 3K will be very competitive, not only with Cole, but it's a fantastic field. So I think it'll be quick, I think it'll be hard, and I think it'll be very competitive.
You're listening to that, Cole. You said it's going to be quick and it's going to be hard. We'll come to you in a minute. So 3:33.99 for 1,500 last week in Boston. Must have been pleased with that.
Yeah, very happy. It felt like I was sprinting the whole time, but it was a great first race for me, and nice to get a PR to start the season. And relative to the other 3 guys I'm with, that's not a great 1,500 time, but relative to my 5K and 10K peers, that's pretty solid. So I like where I'm at, and I like how my body feels. I feel like I'm in a good position, and it'll be a short and sweet indoor season, and then get geared up for outdoor. We've all got, I'm sure, big goals for outdoor, and this is a good kind of kickoff event for all of that.
It's the renaissance of American distance running, isn't it?
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if people look back on 2024, that Olympics, as the resurgence of American distance running, men specifically, on the global stage. I think the women's team has often been pretty competitive, but the guys, we get a couple flashes at the top, but usually people don't think of America as a distance running country. So I hope people can look back on 2024 and see that as a big kickoff for American distance running. And the next big one, of course, is LA 2028. So I think we'll all be ready for that, but there's a lot of stuff to do in between now and then as well.
Okay. Thank you, Grant. Cole, having listened to that, knowing it's going to hurt, what's your remedy for that?
Yeah, I'm always ready to hurt. And
you heard that, Grant? He's ready to hurt.
Yeah, I think exactly what he was saying. We all know our strengths, and we all know our competitor strengths. And I know not many people in the world have my 5K 15 double, and I want to continue to build on my 5K side, and I think a 3K during the middle there. And so
you're going to trouble him at 5K soon?
Of course, I want to trouble everyone at 5K. But yeah, so the 3K is just like that perfect race where we, athletes like myself and like Grant collide, and it makes for a really good race where I'm going to be testing my strength, but I'm feeling really strong right now.
I've been looking at some of your workouts. You've been training on the Virginia Tech track, and you live in Blacksburg, which is kind of quiet, away from the bubble of life in New York, as that is. Is there a particular workout that gave you satisfaction and said, I can take on Grant?
For what you're saying, Blacksburg is very quiet, and I really love that. I just feel like I can always really dial in, and being surrounded in an area where I'm a little bit isolated really helps that. But just like what I was saying, if I'm lacking anywhere, it's my strength and that long end stuff. So it's just these long runs that I've kind of been building, and it's still so early looking at the entire calendar of the year, but even for this indoor season, it's really my opener. So I'm feeling really strong. it's an interesting place to be in training at this point in the cycle, but yeah, my long runs have been looking a lot better than last year, and yeah, some of the best ones in my career.
What's the longest run you do?
Longest I go is like 15.
Okay. And the previous years, was that the same or?
About the same, but I'm going faster now.
So I see from your hat, is that Happy House? No, it's Huega House.
Yeah.
The Danish concept. What's that? A bakery?
I don't know. I'm not doing an advertisement for them.
Has your life changed much since being an Olympic gold medalist?
It has. I think more so in my mind. I kind of used to. Well, I am isolated, and now that the season started, it's back to work, and it feels like almost nothing's changed. But I used to kind of navigate these seasons and my training with just a little bit of doubt and a little bit of uncertainty whether I'm doing enough or I'm, doing too much, or maybe I should do this workout, maybe I should do this race or not. And kind of last year was the proof that I think I needed to. Now I move with certainty in everything I do, and I know I'm doing the right things, and I still have a lot of space to grow as an athlete. I see it, so clear, these areas where I can grow, but just having that power to move with certainty throughout day-to-day decisions and training, it's really great to have kind of in my back pocket. So I think the biggest place it's changed is mentally for me.
That's great. Thanks, gentlemen. Let's move over to the other side. Not the dark side, I would add. Yared, two-time defending champion. Want to make it a 3 in a row, I'm sure, but the guy next to you may well have something to say about that. Knowing that he's got a kick and you've got a kick and you're very close at the Olympics, how do you handle dealing with Mr. Kerr here?
I think, I think a lot of it is, we race each other a lot of times in a lot of different scenarios. So at the end of the day, you kind of just have a race of who wants it more in the end. And I know coming to this race, I really do want to three-peat, and I really do just want to, have a really good start to my indoor season and my 2025 season as a whole. So, we're all pretty close in fitness, I'd say, and just generally how talented we are. So it's just a battle of determination, really.
And you haven't raced since when? Now it's quite a while.
I raced, I think it was the Diamond League final. That was probably my last race, yeah.
So coming into this, you must have done some workouts which tell you that you're in good shape, maybe 346 shape.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some good workouts on the track, mostly just, I couldn't specifically, probably like some 400, 200, like more speed work that, kind of tells me I'm still pretty sharp and not just strong, because, my fall base kind of tells me that I'm strong, and then a couple indoor workouts that we've done these last few weeks just tell you, you're also fast, so.
But 347, 38, 347 was 83, I think, if my memory serves me right, so you know what to do here. And this track is fast. We're going to find out how fast when you guys get on there, but it's the same track as in Paris, except this is blue as opposed to the purple or color that you would call it. But the molecules are the same.
No, I've always been very close to this record. And so this year I'm kind of just trying to focus more on winning, especially given the competition in the race. And, hoping that the record just kind of happens. If I don't
that
jinx
record
it.
by Yomif Kajelcha, 347.01?
Yeah, we're not going to jinx it.
I understand you're a Swiftie fan, a Taylor Swift fan.
That's true.
Favorite song?
Probably You Belong With Me. It's an oldie and a goodie.
Okay. Who knew? Let's go to Josh. Josh, so listening to what he's saying there, I'm sure you're listening to every word. Olympic silver medalist, but also last year, what a tremendous year you had overall. World record indoors at 2 miles here, then the Fifth Avenue mile. You haven't raced since Fifth Avenue, am I right?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Was that the plan?
I think for me, I like to race rather sparingly and in events that I can get excited about, and this is one of them. I think going back to you talking about if this track's going to be fast, I think we get blessed with a lot of amazing tracks, but I think it's more the atmosphere that is the reason that this meet is so good every year. I don't think it's really the track. I think it's the energy in the stadium. And I think it was the same in Paris. So, I would expect some pretty big results across the board, yeah.
After such a tremendous year, how do you change your training in any which way to prepare for this year?
Well, only to kind of keep it fresh, but not because we think we need to change anything. I think people can get wound up on the 0.0s of a second when you're looking at the medals. And to be honest, I think it's more like, what have you done to be able to get to that spot versus what can we do to get the next spot. I think consistency at this highest level is what really brings a great career versus being like, oh, I need 0.0 whatever, or I need 0.1. I don't see the 1500 that way. Maybe other events, but not what we do. I think to be able to do what we do, we have to balance strength and speed and be injury free most of the season.
Now, you live in Seattle, right?
I bounce around.
A bounce around. Is that close?
Well, bouncing around? It's here, there, and everywhere, really.
Oh,
it's wherever the wind takes you.
I'm thinking, where is that?
Yeah, that's.
But you're from Glasgow originally.
No, I'm from Edinburgh.
No. Oh God, heaven forbid I should say that.
You're having a tough time up here.
That's
fine,
terrible. That's terrible. Edinburgh and Glasgow are miles apart in many ways. So having listened to the three gentlemen here, you obviously love competition. What does that come from an early age? This thrill of that?
Yeah, I think if you want to get into the sport, you have to enjoy the competition aspect of it. And, we're always comparing ourselves to our peers and our competitors. So, I grew up with a brother similar age, and he went into professional rugby and I went into professional track, and we were competing up until the age that we're still competing today, to be fair. But it's in my blood, so I enjoy it.
So I mentioned that Yared is a Taylor Swift fan. I can imagine you doing karaoke to Adele, Rolling in the Deep, perhaps?
I've been seen to sing a couple lines of Adele. Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, of course. I've got a lot of respect for Adele. Great artist.
Ah, that's good. Well, there we are. These are 4 Olympians, 4 medalists. I'm sure you'll join me in wishing them all well. It's going to be a tremendous Saturday. I will tell you this, tickets were sold out completely as of last Wednesday. And so don't come to me asking for a ticket. I haven't got any, I have no access to any, and I don't want access to any either because I'll be surrounded. One thing I should mention as well is all this is brought together by a whole team of people at the Armory Foundation who work consistently throughout the year. We have a tremendous team. We've got a social media team. I think we've got 3 on board these days. The world has changed. The media's changed. And our 3, where are they? Where's our team? There they are. There's Ife, where's Olu, and where's Aviana is there. I mean, they're doing a terrific job. As I say, it's a changing world. But the one person I would say to you who's brought about this event, as he's been the meet director for many years, is Mr. Ray Flynn. Ray, take a bow, please. Some of you may not know this, but Ray is still the Irish record holder for the mile 3:49.78, I believe I'm right in saying. It might go this weekend? Well, we'll try and hold on to it for you, Ray, please. Okay. So there we are. We are going to, I think they want to have a photo op with all the athletes here, if you could, all come together. And then we're going to release the athletes, and they're going to sit in different seats here and there. So an athlete will sit over there, and somebody from the media can go and talk. Let me get out of the way here. We'll try and direct you to that. The quintessential New York City photo op. Was there life before iPhones? Cheese, yes. So Jonathan's going to work out where you're going to sit now.